and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, roll.
Hampshire,
Here.
Barstow,
Here.
Carter,
Here. Okay, we'll start out with the update on council chambers video.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I think we wanted to give the Safety and Tech Committee a little bit of an update. During the early days of COVID, there was some discussion about having KeyTel come in and set this particular room up for video. We since stepped on the clutch and have been doing Facebook, I think as everybody knows, but it's not optimal. And KeyTel has decided they've been in, they will wire it, they will put it all up. We are in the process of making that happen. It's been a little bit longer than we wanted because everybody is scrambling and a lot of equipment has been bought up because other people are in the same position as us. But KeyTel has recently sent us a document that says they anticipate that they should have it prior to the end of the year, and they would wire it first to make sure it worked and we liked it, then they would hide the wires. That feed will go to YouTube, YouTube Live, for lack of a better term. It's not going to be a tape thing that we put on there the next day. There is the ability for a comment on YouTube like there is on Facebook, although it's not quite as voluminous in my opinion. But that will be I believe it's a it is a 2-camera system, I think. So that was something that we had told KeyTel we were interested in doing, and I just wanted to give you guys an update on that, see if there's any input, any questions.
Why don't we keep it on our Facebook page? Is there a reason for that?
Well, that requires a couple of different things. In the days when we made our choice, it was Chris's sign-in to Facebook that was being done. And when we started down that road, also the camera that's set up in front of Kathy's window, Kathy and I have been talking about utilizing that window. That's new. More importantly, this would take the tech job out of Chris's hand and it would produce a more, in my opinion, more professional thing for the, as long as council maintains their belief that they like that concept, and I think we have to stick with that concept until we open chambers back up, until the virus situation is over. My anticipation was that we would, based on feedback I was getting from council.
I think we should just keep it, even if we open back up. I think we should keep a lot of municipalities do that. I guess my concern is I wanna make sure that, citizens and other viewers can comment, because as you noticed, I do follow, I think Tommy follows, I think Mr. Epperson follow the Facebook feed, and we do bring up or answer questions or address comments that may come up on Facebook. I think last meeting we were there, just for example, there was a comment that the Pataskala, or that the Y was going to build an indoor pool, and so no, we got that. So people just we don't want it helps clarify things that we're doing. So I would like to make sure we have a robust comment capability for folks who are watching online.
I would suppose, and anybody that's watching online can easily access YouTube as well. It's not like it's a pay-per-view thing.
Right.
And I recently asked the question, is there still a commenting available? And the answer was yes. Gahanna School Board uses it, and several people were commenting on the fly. There may be a little bit of an education process, but
Okay.
we'll make
Good.
sure.
Cool.
Any other questions or discussion on that? You can keep both, right?
I probably would not want to keep both because of Chris being the tech side of it, and I'd like to put out one stream.
What about time frame and cost?
I wish I had a better answer on the cost. The time frame would be before the end of the year. They believe that they can get it, they've already been in, they've looked at it. But I don't have the cost for you. I will by the next meeting, or I will send it out to everybody tomorrow.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the door locking system, I believe for this building that we're in.
It is, I think council will remember when I originally brought this up was, again, almost during the remote days of COVID, when we discovered that some people thought this building was a shelter and hadn't kept it up with it all the time. That was the rumor. That was since discounted or discredited. The police have, on occasion, the cleaning crew has found blood in the bathrooms. I don't know if it was somebody shooting up, I don't know what it was, but they voiced concerns about, for security purposes, locking the building. The old system was put in by Mr. Fox. So, in talking with Jamie, who also has a role to play sometimes in the tech side of stuff in this building, what we think we have to do is get somebody in. I don't believe that it's gonna be cost prohibitive, but something that, some of the, hardware already exists to do it. We were just going to find a company that does it. What I was hoping was this committee might give me the okay to start down that road. To formally see if I can get some prices together and see if I can bring back to this committee at the next meeting, exactly what it would cost. We have room in the budget this year for it. It should not be exorbitant. But something that, on my mind, I wanted to float past everybody in here, just to see what you guys think of the concept. It would probably be a time lock system where the doors would lock at 10 o'clock or something like that. Hopefully something incredibly user easy. Possibly thinking about a code to get in case any of us had to return during, for whatever. I come back here several times, just like to pick up something I forgot, so, on the weekend.
Well, I guess my question is, what's the security / locking system now? I mean, we have a number of tenants, and so I would assume that all of them have a key to get, I mean, is the building locked at night?
No.
The building's not locked at night?
No.
I didn't know that.
That's the impetus for this.
Okay. Good golly, Miss Molly.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, definitely. Mrs. Carter, did you know that the building's not locked at night? Well, I didn't know that, okay. The mayor didn't know that. The mayor did know that.
If I can give
I'm
my
sorry.
2 cents.
No, I'm sorry.
Until about the last 6 months or a year, if I got here before 7 a.m., I could not get in unless I had a key.
Right.
And after 7 a.m., it released. When we had a couple people work on it, we could never get it right. So my officers call every once in a while and say, hey, sometimes it's locked, sometimes it's not. They take newbies over. They bring newbies here to do building searches for practice. Sometimes it's locked, sometimes it's not. So we do need to get a handle on it.
Well, so the building needs to be secured after hours.
Correctly.
Properly, I mean, so whatever that is, a time lock system, where you have a code where you have to get in. That's what we have in my office building where I'm a tenant. If you come in the main door, you have your own code and you have to turn the alarm off. The alarm's going to go off. So we have to have security after hours.
Is that still the case? At 7 a.m., before 7 a.m. it's locked?
No, currently it isn't.
Okay.
I'm not getting
So the time lock system is not working.
It's not, and not only that, but we can't find it.
The, also, I've noticed the handicap button to press to open the doors when you do get here, that's not working.
But
That, I,
It works erratically.
Does it?
that needs to be, that's another, to me, security, if I'm a tenant, I wanna make sure that when I leave, at some point over overnight hours, that my office, there's a less of a chance of my office being broken into. A determined burglar is going to get in, okay? But we need to have an alarm system and an outside security system other than just the interior, and whatever steps the tenants take to secure their valuables, business records, what have you. The handicap thing should work, and it's also, to me, a liability issue for our employees. If somebody comes in early in the morning and there is some person who has been sleeping in the bathroom and they're startled and they're having some sort of mental health problem or they're having whatever, no, that's gotta get fixed, and I would say immediately. I mean, as quickly as we can work on it. Thanks. I did not know that. I did not know that the building was unsecured
I
overnight.
think that's been fairly recently.
It's been brought up in a
With-
couple meetings, I knew about it, just,
It's been fairly recently, and are the cleaning people all daytime now?
no, but they're earlier than, the cleaning people actually have codes, correctly so. They can get in, but they're not daytime, they come after
Well, they
hours.
do the police station during the day, so this is at night still, okay,
I would say, instead of at night, I would say evenings.
okay.
If we see them, typically I see them leaving this meeting, so.
Right.
8:39, we would set the timer so that, that it would open plenty early for people getting here early, or whatever the case may be. Or whoever gets here first would come in. I was not planning on alarming it, I just wanted it secured.
Well, I think we need to have an alarm. I think an alarm is a good idea. We have a number of tenants. I mean, to me, so, if there is an intrusion, then the police are alerted and they can come by and see what's going on. But there should be an alarm system that people can code and turn off. Let's say that one of the businesses here, the person's going to a meeting and they get home, or they get ready to go, getting ready to go to the airport, and they realize, oh my gosh, I left my tablet sitting on my desk. I gotta have that for my thumb drive or whatever. I gotta come in. They should be able to access their office and get what they need if there's some sort of problem, after hours problem. So
One of the reasons that I talked about that is each individual office is alarmed. So if, when I get here in the morning, if I'm the first with the mayor, if he gets here early, as he often does, he turns off the alarm to the individual offices. It's the common area isn't alarmed, and I would consider for cost savings, maybe not alarming. However, locking the building down is something I think is.
I think it should be alarmed, because we've had instances in which people come into the building and have secreted themselves in the building, and then waited until people have left to do whatever they're gonna do, and then if they start to move around, then the alarm will go off. So, I mean, I would prefer that if somebody, we have some kids who come in the building and they're gonna deface the lobby, we're gonna have to pay for that, so.
Sure.
I think that it should be, the city building should be secured.
So I will move forward with getting some estimates on
Yes.
that, probably having somebody come out and look through it, some local security / locksmith company. Because I'd like to see if they could incorporate some of what's already here. It's just, so some of the wires are run, and they were run before stuff was, so we may be able to utilize some of that stuff. I have no idea. To give you an example, Jamie the other day, when I asked him about it, this was several weeks ago, I think, they went to the keypad, and it turns out it was the old alarm system. So they thought the keypad was the door lock system, and lo and behold, it's going off in their office. They were trying to shut it off.
Yeah.
So,
I will say this, office space I used to rent for many, many years, I thought, based on the landlord's representations, was secured. We had a burglary, things were stolen from my office. It was not secured, there was not an alarm system, And I can tell you, there's a horrible feeling to come into your, even though it's your business, and find that it's been, that you thought it was secure, and that the police would be alerted if somebody was, and it's not. So, this is personal, maybe I'm a little strenuous on this, but I think it's a big deal.
Okay. That's exactly why we brought it up, so I appreciate the
Good,
input
thanks.
from everybody.
Okay, any other discussion on the locking systems or anything with the security of the building? Then we'll move on to the city website redesign.
I wanted to bring this up to this committee, it's a tech issue. I think in several different meetings that I've been in with different people in different situations, they've talked about redesigning our web system. In the next budget cycle, I did put some money in for contractual services to redesign our web system, our city page, to make it look, I guess, more interactive and professional, if that's the right term. In addition, there's always a line item in the budget for hosting. We have to pay to have the program sit at a host as well. I don't know that I'm asking for anything specifically, or I have any really good examples. What I was hoping to ask this committee is, some of you already do go out and visit it on a fairly regular basis. Even if you don't, I plan on having those meetings here in the fall with some people that are willing to come in and look at it to give me some ideas. And I would love to hear interaction on how I'm looking for this, and it's a dog. There's no way we can find, all I tried to do was find whether dogs can be in parks. And I have experienced this as well, because I went looking for if dogs are allowed in parks, as the lady called me. And I had a hard time doing it at the time. It was just a day Lanier was off, and that's what really started to drive me as to how interactively, how I think we could upgrade our system. Time spent on the development committee side, it's the first thing a company that's looking to relocate to Pataskala does. And it probably speaks to our professionalism. So I put that in the budget. I just like the safety and tech committee, if you get half a chance, put our current system through its paces, maybe come up with some ideas for places where you found particular problems. And we'll move forward with doing that as soon as the budget's approved, as soon as the year hits. So, and I'm open for any other suggestions or any other comments on it. They can be delivered to me via email, text, or in the next meeting of this committee. So. Also look for me possibly to put a similar call out to council. Don't be surprised that you would all be included on it, but it's just something I think is due. So.
I agree, Tim, and one of the things that's always frustrated me with the website is that, if I go out there to look for like a common calendar, like a one inclusive of everything, like whether it's a firework or a park board meeting, or it just seems like you can't, I mean, heck, I'm not even gonna lie, there were times I was on the park board and I'd be like, is this a park board meeting week? And, but I couldn't find that on the, and I feel like that's just because, there's really not a singular person responsible for keeping everything updated.
That's correct.
And I understand that pain, cause I have that, struggle in my own employment situation where I forget to put things and update the website. But, I mean, I think it could be something, wow, but it does need redesign because it's just a poor design. I think that the first step could be if it was just on a regular checklist of, for somebody's regular duty to go in and check for the updates on everything. And even if there was a checklist of things, like all of our regular monthly meetings that are listed here on it, that kind of thing.
Yep. So we get to a situation, and this is maybe more for the next meeting, but I've had several local people contact me that do this for a living. It seems to be the rage.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to make sure that they were they were qualified and that stuff. A local person, to me, I don't know why I feel this way, I guess because of my own webpage when I was running for office, the person who built that would call me and say, hey, what's going on this week? And if that same thing took place, vis-a-vis, nothing will probably drive anybody crazier than on December 31st, have a big banner that says, don't forget Halloween, Beggars Night is the 28th. So that's the kind of stuff that I think is professional. That's the kind of stuff that needs to get updated. Many cities have a dedicated IT person for that, and we don't. It is truly a round robin conglomerate. And I don't know, well, that'll be our own internal struggle to see if we can get our grip on that, but I couldn't agree more. So, and it's that local person, which, may not be as a big a name in the industry, but if they're dedicated and they're local, they already know the fireworks are coming up, or they already know the cookie walk is coming up. That's kind of one side of me, and then the other side is, if you put out an RFQ, which I think is how we should do it, because it's not overly cheap. I didn't budget a ton of money for it. Probably, it's possible I budgeted too little, so, I'll be honest, because I had no idea. But, it's not ridiculously expensive, but, I think I put 30, so.
I think it's a worthwhile investment.
I do too. I think we need to have, it needs to be better. It's just kind of, just for example, it's difficult to find people sometimes. So we've got 2 places to find council people, and so it's,
That's
The
what
contact should have an email link next to it,
right.
so you click on it.
Right,
yeah.
it needs to be upgraded to what you would see, so you can contact somebody. Although there are some cities that they have no contact information for their council
That's
members. They have nothing. No email, no phone number, nothing. I don't agree with that, but
That's probably how their electorate wants it. That's where they.
maybe, this may be how the elected officials want it, I don't know.
Well, I've shared with you guys before that after the last upgrade, it took me forever to realize that you had to scroll all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
You'd be like, no, it is out there, and I'm like, it is not. Which one of these little boxes do you click on? None, you scroll down.
And that's kind
Where's
of,
the director's report? Scroll down.
and in this day and age, that's fairly counterintuitive. I mean, we ought to be able to have somebody go there and click on director's reports or whatever it happens to be and easily get you there. So, GUI, as they say, graphic user interface stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't act like I know what I'm talking about. I do not.
I actually think it's pretty good. I mean, from what I've used it for, at least it's a good start. And then all those other things you guys said would be great to add on to it. I haven't had it really much trouble using it at all. I guess I go the same places all the time.
And, once you know it easily, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, but
But I mean, something like our dogs allowed in parks.
There, I don't know if there, I'm on the website right now, I don't know if there is I don't know if there's an FAQ section or not.
I don't remember either, yeah.
I don't believe there
I don't
is.
think there is.
Mm-mm.
what was it?
I mean, it's just not,
Good example, yeah, excellent.
I don't know. It's just, it's not a very updated, user-friendly,
And the blog starts off with Happy New Year 2019. So we are neck and neck with the other famous website that we've been referred to, so. Construction blog for 2018, so, I'm not trying to be mean.
and
It's
none
just
of
that-
us wanna go backwards here.
Right, it's just
I
that we.
don't take that as being mean,
no,
indeed,
it's
that's
just that-
exactly why I'm here.
No, it's just, Tim, you're right, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
a lot of it's outdated information, it's kinda clunky to use, so.
Okay, anything else on the website redesign?
No.
We'll move on to other. Does anyone have any other to add?
I would like to add one quick thing, I just want this committee to know. In the last directors meeting, and I looked at all of them and I said, where are you going if there's a tornado? And I was greeted with,
Amazing.
with the kind of blank stares. The best answer that we could come up with, and so the best answer that I told them to take back to their people was an interior restroom,
Mhm.
Yes.
which is, that's the typical safety point,
Mhm.
and probably on the first floor.
Mhm.
So that means that's a lot of people in this building. We all get along pretty well. But I could see, what happened, the recent spate of tornadoes made me think of this. And of course, when the sirens went off, I did the Ohio thing, which is I went on my front porch
Mhm.
with my wife and my son to watch the storm come in.
Mhm. Absolutely.
But ultimately, if we really did hear that something was bearing down, some suggestions were that the new police station is much more secure, has many more interior areas we might be able to utilize. I'm not a big fan of having staff run across the parking lot.
I was gonna say, that's very, hurry, run to the cellar.
Yeah, yes, it is, it's very Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
And so ultimately, I'm working to, there's also a situation upstairs where there are no fire extinguishers on the administrative side of the hall that I can find. So if there happened to be a fire in the hallway leading to the steps, there is an emergency set of steps at the back of the building. But if there was a fire that happened to be right there, I would like, and so I'm working on that. I wanted to tell the safety committee because I'm working on it.
Out of curiosity, Tim, how often, do you, as a city building, or do we have to pass a inspection with the fire marshal?
I believe the answer is annually. They're fairly backed up, and so they may be on wink, kind of a 14 to 16 month cycle, but they do come in. That inspection is more proper exit signs, no exit signs that have a bulb out, fire extinguishers in the correct places according to the building design, and properly charged.
I see.
This one was just one that stuck out to me because there actually is a fire extinguisher in the upstairs janitor's closet, which is immediately across from the steps. Unfortunately, janitor's closets always seem to be where fires break out, because chemicals are stored there, and that's where the air conditioning unit is, and
Electrical panels?
electrical panel, so,
Is it locked too?
it was not the last several times that I checked it, but that doesn't mean that it's usually locked. I don't know how, Kathy, how do you feel?
Usually it's locked. I don't have a key to it, but I believe the finance department does.
That may be, and we're talking about safety and technology, that may be another thing with key security and key control. Is there a central place where, if there is a fire, I mean, the firemen will do this, and they would love to do this, get out their chainsaws and their hatchets and open the door to the janitor's closet, but we don't want that.
Agreed.
Well, also if someone's in charge of a set of keys and they leave, do we reclaim those? Do they have them signed out? Do we know who's got them?
There are ways where you can have the key secured in a central location, in a coded cabinet, so that if the person who's generally in charge of key control is gone at lunch, whatever, there's a backup that has the code to get in. So the security people, I think, can help us with that. With the locks, they can help us with the key control. That's the last thing you want, is have some door that you can't open.
I agree, and from the very first day I walked in here, it's kind of been an interesting trip to go around and see. There seems to be two sets of keys. They are on the top and the bottom floor. One exists outside the administrator, Jess. The other exists in finance. But I agree with that. Even still, we would still, every now and then, I'd be like, hey, do I have a key that opens the elevator room?
Is there an orientation for like employees, or if there's a fire, you gotta find a way out?
Well, I don't think that there has been, and so that's part
Has
of
been orientation or has been a fire?
either.
Oh.
But Yeah, I mean, even just putting up fire routes on the walls or something like that, I don't know if they're great, but the tornado one really got me when I said, what are you gonna do? And, because I didn't know. So, and really that answer, I don't know if there is another answer, the best answer might be, let's get everybody downstairs in the first floor restrooms. No windows, plumbing, with plumbing in the walls, of course, acts as a, but that is a, if it was a prolonged situation, you know, but that could be a lot of people. And like I said, we get along fine, but staying all that time in there, that might,
Well, look, the good news about tornadoes is that typically they don't last very long.
Right.
They're not like a hurricane, come park over your city for a day. They're gone. So you wouldn't have to be up close and personal, you know, for that long.
I think on that topic, I just wanted to pass on the word that that's what I expected, so that we all could come to a meeting of the minds and it can be passed on.
Well, and if there were guests in the building for any reason, the people who actually work here, we're here to help them. If,
I mean, that is true. If this place was full of COTC kids, we'd look like a 1950s college group trying to stuff people in a phone booth. Or how many people can you fit in a VW? It would be quite, because there's a lot of windows here. So,
One thing you asked, what happens when an employee leaves? Usually the keys aren't changed, but the codes are. So the code that you would come into council chambers, then that would change, or that person's code would be taken out.
yeah, absolutely. That does happen, I know that for a fact.
Okay.
That's all I have under other.
anybody else, anything other? Well, we probably do need to select a date for the next meeting, because there were a couple things that we definitely need to follow back up on, mostly costs on some important items. Does anybody have any, suggestions? I love before a council meeting, that works great for me. That's fine.
Fine for me. Our next,
Are we talking a month? What are we talking?
I would say maybe the first meeting in November, unless that butts up against budget stuff. I don't know if that's,
well,
that would be the second.
it's November 2nd. We're gonna have budget. We can't stop the world because we have budget stuff. So
And I think this meeting, this meeting took roughly 35 minutes. I would say we could probably bump this meeting to 6 o'clock and easily be adjourned before we have the 7 o'clock meeting.
okay.
So November 2nd or November 16th, did anybody have any?
I think we said November 2nd, right, Tim?
We
November
did.
2nd?
We did.
At 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock. Very good.
Kathy, is that clear for?
On November the 2nd?
Yes.
Yes,
6 o'clock?
that'd be fine. I
Excellent.
have one question. Tim, did you want to bring up anything about what we're doing with council chambers, open, close,
Sure.
however we want to do that?
So Kathy had a couple people wander in and basically not even adhere to any social distancing whatsoever. She had brought it to Mr. Barstow's and I's attention, as he is the president of council and I'm the administrator. We played around with a couple of different ideas. I think right now, when the camera's not in front of the glass window, that camera is moved. Her room is secure and she can talk to people through the window. That's why it was put in. I did have Chris Sharrock come up and talk to me today about a buzzing in of people if there was some, another option was to lock council chambers and have a sign on the door that says you could call Kathy and she would come let you in. I don't know that would necessarily solve that problem. I'm a bigger fan of the window right now. It seems to be, well, we really haven't tested it, right? But I think it works. Chris's, at the street department, there is a camera and a button system. And somebody can ring the doorbell, for lack of a better term, and they look and see, okay, it's not some guy with a machete, and pushes the button and they get in. I may differ from everybody on this, so I'll be happy to listen to conversation on it about whether or not this room should remain open generally. I don't know that it necessarily has to. I think administrative staff comes down here. Of course, it's got a code lock on it, and they could, but not be outside, right? So, so if we chose
No
to.
matter which door you come in, this one or that one, the alarm has to be turned off.
But like, for instance, to get into my offices upstairs after hours, I have to put in a code. Door opens, the alarm goes off or starts beeping at me. We have to put in a code to shut it off.
That's the way it is here.
And so, but that keypad is not outside. It allows no access to the room. So if administrative staff came down, it would, that's probably my least favorite, just because of, you know, I think there were some legitimate stories in the past where students might come in here and mess around, or somebody, I know during COVID, I let somebody come in here and eat lunch because he had no place to eat, but he had his kid in a baseball tournament, and I was like, nobody was here, so I said, yeah. But other people have done stuff like that.
We've had different ones at different times, not frequently, but occasionally you'll have that, where someone wanted to let their kids cool off after a session at one of their sporting events, and you'll have that. I've come in and found people sitting at council's desk eating a lunch, but not regularly. And it's just a matter of whether you want them to be able to come in and do that or not.
I can tell you, I haven't seen it happen. Of course, Kat, I suppose my druthers would be, let's see if we think it becomes a situation. My main concern is protecting Kathy and having people come in and walk right around the plexiglass screen and start breathing on her, which is exactly what happened, twice.
But Kathy,
Yes.
you can keep your doors locked, correct? So
Yes.
you can lock yourself in there.
I can lock myself in. It's
So,
not a big issue out here for me. It can be an issue for council members. I remember there was an occasion when Pat Sager's council packet stuff was moved to a different location and that type of thing. Things where people were drinking were left on the desk. And
Oh, that happens with my stuff all the time over here.
So,
I mean, like they do,
yeah.
they just, I mean, because it gets used for a number of different
yeah, I get you for
committees and-
boards and commissions, things like that.
Yes.
so.
But I don't believe that the chamber should just be open all the time. I mean, I don't think there's any reason for people to be in here if there's not a public meeting or something going on that would require it, so.
I agree.
I mean, I think this just comes with the entire issue of, looking to secure the building, and, you know, there's certain areas that aren't, the public just doesn't necessarily need access to if there's not a reason.
And we keep records here.
Yeah, I mean,
We have equipment in here, the camera. You know, Kathy goes upstairs to talk to somebody, and that door is left open. They just walk in, help themselves to a camera, a clock. You know, yeah.
Maybe,
So I think it should be kept secured to secure the equipment that the city property that's in here.
Okay.
That's something the security folks can help us look at, is not just exterior security, but interior security as well.
perfect.
They should be able to, you know, give us ideas on how to implement what we'd like.
And that one would be as simple as adding the keypad outside. I mean, when I go down to finance, the door's locked.
Right.
yeah.
And you
I
have
just
to,
type in my code and walk right in and start.
right.
So anybody in the building could easily do that. Add
I
the
think we
keypad out
talked
front.
about that the other day, just a keypad there. Chris mentioned what they had at the water department, and I asked him just to speak to you so you know what it was he was talking about.
The problem then lies, it's not a big problem, we'll overcome it, of you're a citizen and you have to come talk to the clerk. My initial suggestion to Kathy was, here's the phone number for the clerk. Call her and tell her you're here to talk to her and what it's about.
Right.
We also get people that walk in here that want a yard sale permit, right? So, you
A
know.
lot of court people, people with questions about paying fines.
Because this is where the magistrate
Right.
hears it.
I think we should just put an intercom system, if somebody says, I wanna pay my fine, just send them upstairs to the nice lady, the clerk, the court clerk, so you're not spending half an hour explaining to somebody why you can't pay your fine here. Which you used to be able to pay your fines here, and that's when that window was put in, I think.
No,
No?
that was actually just for my
Right,
security.
your security, okay.
Never
It's
was.
like I came out here for mayor's court, and that was, there, maybe I could be thinking about another building, another
It
city.
becomes a little confusing when court's going on and we would pull the curtain down, that's why there's a curtain there, so people went directly to the clerk, of
Okay.
mayor's court instead of to that window.
Okay.
When the young lady worked for finance for a while, that window was out front was fantastic because she was directing a lot of
Mhm.
things. Of course, we don't have that position right now,
right.
but
Okay. Well, I think the security folks should be able to give us some advice on the ways to handle that, but I would suggest a security and an intercom out there at the front, so if somebody comes and buzzes and says, hey, I need a Joe Biden sign, you can tell them to go to the right place, or whatever, you know, I need a political sign.
I believe that did happen as well.
Yes.
Yes, we had a lady that, and these were some of our older citizens come in, and she was very adamant. She wanted Republican signs. She never asked for Mr. Trump's sign, but she did ask for Republican signs.
So we can direct them to the right place.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
You guys, turned me around, because originally I was thinking, not my room, anybody should be able to use it that wants, but now I hear everything you're saying, and I totally agree. Anything else for other? Well, we will, be back here at 6 PM on November 2nd. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Meeting is adjourned.
Point of order, I think we need to call the roll.
We need a roll.
Need to call the roll.
Hampshire,
Yes.
Barso.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
now you can say meeting adjourned.
Meeting is officially adjourned.
Oh my. We got nothing till 7, right?
Right.
Nothing till 7.
Up until 7.